The latest. Thank you for love and support. I appreciate you all. South Africa has also joined in the call for unity, for us to move and join Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Mboyisini is saying that we have to all call our leaders to order and let them understand that from wherever you are to the end of the African continent, we are one people. And if they are happy with raising guns on their own brothers, like what we are seeing happening in DR Congo, Phyllis and Kagame, that we should let them understand that enough. We don't want to raise our guns on ourselves. If there is anybody that we want to wage war against, it should be somebody that is not in the same skin. And we have to let African Union, Ecowas especially, know that if Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are fighting against France for freedom, that is not the time for Ecowas to be dining with France. We've seen that immediately after the president of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, visited the Nigerian president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he quickly ran to France. What for? Why is it that Africa will have all these fancy state institutions, state buildings? Every decision we have to take, it must always be Jolopop. Yet these people have never come to Africa to sit here and say they are meeting to do what in Africa? Even when they're having their programs, they don't invite the African. But every program of the African, every affair of the African, these people are always in our midst. And when we finish, we go and sit at AU meetings. Oh, Africa. And say, we want unity. We want freedom. Sunday.
We must challenge Ecowas that the exclusion of Burkina Faso from the Western African community is not a solution when Burkina Faso is fighting for independence from colonial France. All of West Africa must cut ties with France. We must challenge Museveni. We must challenge all our leaders from these African Renaissance clubs based on cultural excellence, based on sports excellence, based on uniting on the principles of self-reliance, self-determination, self-love. We must refuse for hate to win in the African continent. All of you here on Sunday, you will be closing your eyes, praying a God you cannot see. And when you open your eyes, hate the man and woman that is created by the God that you don't see. You've got the guts to hate, but pray. Hatred has taken us too long. We have to build an Africa that loves itself. We need to build an Africa that knows how to define its best interest. In conclusion, I want to challenge you. The final path lies in the revival of the dreams of our founders. From Nkrumah, Nyerere and Kaunda, with their ideas of Pan-Africanism, at the center of which is Africa's self-determination and Africa's unity that always presents itself in the world as a united force. You think in the head of Donald Trump there is a Lesotho and a Malawi? You seriously think in that racist, incoherent psychopath of a head there is Egypt that is different to South Africa? Trump sees this continent as a single country with people who cannot run their own affairs. But in the ideas of our founding fathers, at the beginning of independence was a resounding call that we must never allow Africa again to be divided. The ideas of Africa's renaissance, advocated by Auntie Diop and later by Mbeki, Kagame and others, at the center of which is African reliance, Africa solving its own problems without the guidance of Europeans. Here we have arrived at Vutimbiko and his ask tonight. He's asking us to raise a movement, a continental movement of people over politics. To speak to the content of this idea, allow me to take a detour to the word of scripture. You will recall that the first murder in the Bible occurred between twins who were born and came from the same womb. You will recall when Cain killed Abel, God then asked him, "Where is your brother?" To which Cain answered, "I am not my brother's keeper." Incidentally, when someone has committed an act of hatred, an act of envy, an act of murder, they feel unaccountable for the humanity of their other. Incidentally, the colonial racist project was driven by hate. White people never felt accountable to the humanity of black people. We must ask, have we not replicated this hatred amongst each other? Have we over the years not also treated ourselves with the same hatred that the colonizers treated us? Neglected and rejected, that we are not finding each other, that we feel unaccountable for the humanity of each other. We feel unaccountable for our children's education. We feel unaccountable for the public infrastructure, for the infrastructure of our hospitals, of our water. Nobody feels accountable to keep the institutions like the schools, like the clinic. It's always someone else's responsibility to keep those institutions in a dignified state and not our responsibility. If you will permit me one last time, let's return to the word of scripture. Those of us who went to Sunday school will remember an incident where Jesus says he had to return to Jerusalem, and there he will suffer many things at the hands of the elders, the chief priests and the teachers of the law, and that he will have to be killed. Comrade Minister, you'll remember that Peter took him aside. We are told he rebuked Jesus, saying, "Stop speaking like that. Nothing like that is going to happen." Incidentally, it is there where Jesus calls Peter Satan. But after there, he returned to the disciples and said something I think will help us unpack Vutimbiko's philosophy. We are told, then Jesus said to his disciples, "If anyone amongst you wants to be my disciple, you must deny yourself, carry your cross, and follow me." We may begin to say to each other, have we not over the past years neglected to take our own cross? This is a very important analogy. Instead of taking our own cross, we began to think the cross that we put on the ballot paper means surrendering responsibility to build our own world. We surrendered the responsibility to build our communities, to build our families, to educate our children, totally to politicians. We began to elevate politics above everything else, including above the God that we pray on Sundays. We began to abandon the idea that people are their own liberators. We began to cultivate a culture of dependency instead of self-sufficiency. In so doing, we stood on the side and kept waiting for politics to change our world. We began to elevate this politics, but then things got worse and worse, year by year, decade after decade, because we kept waiting for a politician to solve our problems. Is it not our fault that we relegated our lives and invested all of our freedom into one principle called politics? Politics is driven by a specific logic. But this principle, although fully correct, it is nonetheless limited, and we use this principle to navigate life. All of life, we miss the point. Freedom, liberation cannot be provided by politics only. Politics is merely the means of governance. The power, though, of that governance to succeed always depends on the people. So what is politics? It is creating the possibility for people to own their lives, for people to run their lives, for people to govern themselves, their economy, their schools, their health care. You don't take that responsibility from them. Let us put it differently. We may have abandoned a politics that made decolonization possible, a politics where the people are the liberators. When we do not take up the cross and relegate it to politicians, what do politicians do? Over time, they think they are the messiahs. They grow arrogant. They become untouchable because we have relegated the responsibility to live from them. We have relegated, we even ask permission from them to see each other. We have allowed them to become the Alpha and Omega. Finally, they began to serve themselves. They forgot to serve the people. They began to become in that parasitic culture of get rich quick and go to Europe. They began to take bribes. They began to be lazy. When the leader of Burkina Faso says, if you want to make money, please don't join politics. Go into business. But you know why they won't go to business? Frantz Fanon explains the basic economic problem of the African continent. Africa does not have a bourgeoisie. Africa does not have capitalists. Because capitalists, it's not people who facilitate the wealth on behalf of Europeans. At the center of the bourgeoisie is the capacity to be innovative. There are people there in my country. I want to give you an example. Listen very carefully. What is a bourgeoisie? A bourgeoisie is an inventor. If we do not insist on the bourgeois capitalist definition at the center of which is an innovation. There are people here in the continent, they say they are rich. And then when you ask them, how do you make your money? You and I know why Mark Zuckerberg is rich. He's got Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. That is his invention. That is his product. We know why the owners like Steve Jobs, who has died, why was Steve Jobs rich? He invented the iPhone. We know why that philanthropist called, who owns Microsoft, Bill Gates. We know why Bill Gates is rich. He invented Microsoft. Now go all over here in Malawi. Ask all rich people, what did you invent? What's your contribution? Why are you rich? There is a president there in South Africa called Ramaphosa. He is also very rich. But minister, Ramaphosa's riches come out of owning McDonald's. But Ramaphosa did not invent a burger. He's got shares in McDonald's. He's got shares in this mine and that mine that are ultimately just taking minerals from our continent to support the industrial projects of Europe and America. It's time we ask these people who are rich, maybe they must start telling us, you are rich because of bribes from Europe, and what do you do in return is to suppress the African black inventors, is to support the people that are going to invent the products that will make us not depend on Europe. Very, very important. Some of them are rich out of tithes and offerings. There is someone here in Malawi who is wanted in South Africa. I'm going to ask the minister to help me go past that house of that person and just tell him, there are questions for you there in South Africa that you must come answer. Whether you are a pastor or a politician, you don't have the right to steal from the poor. Not in the name of God, not in the name of our people. Now, this is what always has been at the center of Pan-African politics and the African Renaissance. The true measure of freedom is that the people are their own liberators. We don't teach that anymore, because if you started teaching these young people that they are their own liberators, they will do things for themselves that render politicians irrelevant. So we teach them that a politician will come to solve your problems. I'm saying that at the center of the Christian faith is a message that you must take your cross. Hey, if Jesus Christ comes back today, I suspect they're going to kill him again. Because these people are scared of the truth. Because there's no Jesus who's going to tell you he's going to solve your unemployment. Jesus is going to say, carry your cross as we go together to solve the problems of our people. Palace politics are made of factions and the maneuvers of power, and openly driven or dominated by ambition and personal reward. In this system, it is almost impossible to build a selfless cadre. Not even strict political education can achieve that. A new generation of African leaders must come out of community service. not political parties, where they serve communities in all aspects of their lives without expectation of personal reward. This is the new cadre that will be able to selflessly lead our people. Because in community service, there is no salary. In community service, there are no contracts. In community service, there are no bribes. It is just you and our people. If we have produced those activists who have shown their determination over years to have served communities selflessly, then we can elect them to become presidents, because we know the same way they selflessly served communities, they will selflessly serve Malawi. Today, one has to almost clarify. Merci. One almost has to clarify. When we say African unity, it does not mean allowing corrupt criminals to freely roam the continent, engaging in human trafficking, using religion or God to prey on the vulnerable, criminals who move around with forged passports to set up networks of drug dealing to destroy the future of the young people of this continent. We do not mean Africa eliminating borders to give advantage to criminals and lazy politicians who choose to fight, who do not choose to fix their countries, who do not choose to fight dictatorship, corrupt government officials and securitocrats. African unity is not allowing a person to steal from Malawi, run to Tanzania, because he knows when he gets to Tanzania, they won't find them. African unity means documenting all of us, so that there is no way that you can steal in Johannesburg and go to Luanda without a trace. It means knowing all of us in a documented, proper system. Who are you? Where do you live? What are your skills? What's your contribution in society? We must unite against those who rape our continent together with the world powers and multinational corporations. We must unite against those who use this continent for criminal activities. Comrade Minister, I propose that at the center of people above politics is the return of community service. It is the return of the school governing bodies, of parents who get involved in the education of their children. I propose that the philosophy of people above politics is about young people appreciating that they must initiate cultural organizations and initiatives in music, in fine arts, in film, in drama, as well as in sports, to fight against alcohol and drug abuse. I propose that people above politics is returning to the debating societies where young, intelligent Africans debate amongst each other, and at the end of the day, the best argument wins. People above politics means we must not wait for the African Union to unite the continent. It means constituting associations across the board, across the borders, to constitute a common agenda to fight against the Donald Trumps of this world, to fight against the advantage that China is taking against us. I propose that we must form African Renaissance clubs and revive the ideas of the founding fathers of African independence. Hold each other accountable. Out of that process, Comrade Minister, will come out the best of the best. And we must be so fearless, we must be so brave that we refuse to be led by the laziest amongst us. We must refuse to be led by the dumbest amongst us. We must refuse to be led by those who hate innovation, by those who hate brilliant minds of students who are prepared to question power no matter the circumstances. We must refuse to be divided. There is nothing Africa is going to achieve in this new global balance of power if we act in a divided way. We must appeal from Cape to Cairo, Morocco to Madagascar. We must hold Kagame in relation to the DRC and Tshisekedi and say to them, find a room, stop and silence the guns, unite the African continent and face the world together as responsible leadership. We must challenge Ecowas that the exclusion of Burkina Faso from the Western African community is not a solution when Burkina Faso is fighting for independence from colonial France. All of West Africa must cut ties with France. We must challenge Museveni. We must challenge all our leaders from these African Renaissance clubs based on cultural excellence, based on sports excellence, based on uniting on the principles of self-reliance, self-determination, self-love. We must refuse for hate to win in the African continent. All of you here on Sunday, you will be closing your eyes, praying a God you cannot see. And when you open your eyes, hate the man and woman that is created by the God that you don't see. You've got the guts to hate, but pray. Hatred has taken us too long. We have to build an Africa that loves itself. We need to build an Africa that knows how to define its best interest. In conclusion, I want to challenge you as the students of Malawi. Never give up on Malawi. Never give up on your country. Never give up on the land of your mothers and fathers. There is nobody coming to solve Malawi's food problems. If you want a person that is going to expand manufacturing with jobs in Malawi, look on your side. That is your next boss. That is next industrial captain. If you cannot see in this very room the future industrial leaders of Malawi, then you hate Malawi. Right next to you is standing a person with the solution for agricultural success, with the solution to use the rare earth minerals, to localize them and turn them into the digital equipment that we keep transporting from Europe. Next to you is the person that is going to give us an African car. Next to you is the person that is going to give us African-made cell phones. Next to you is a person that is going to resolve all the industrial problems of this continent. Your duty tonight, and this is my fundamental message, never destroy that person next to you. Never speak hate to this person next to you. Never ever discourage the person standing next to you now. Hold their hand, propel them to the best of their capacity.
that we have to rise up and fight. In this our age, we don't understand why we are so where we are. With all the things that we have, we are not moving forward and rather backwards. And I say wake-up call to all of us. We have been made to believe that we are not one. It's not true. If Africa will become a better place, it is you and I, the youth, that can stand and fight. These old leaders that we have can never do anything good for us. All that they are good at is how to please yellow people. They are gatekeepers. They can never do anything outside of what they are told by these people. Like Mali, Niger, and Burkina are asking, why will you have these yellow people in the meetings of Africa? Yet these people, when they are meeting, do not invite us. Even look at Donald Trump. In his inauguration, he never invited any African leader. But all the new presidents that we had, these people were all invited. They have to come and give the validation to the African leader so that they'll be proud. That is mental slavery. We are seeing the inferiority complex in us. And that is why he's saying we have to stop that inferiority complex. We should know that we are better. We are the best. Then how can you go to church every blessed Sunday and close your eyes and praise the God that you don't see? Then when you open and see your brothers around you, you hate them. It's a system they've created. You can never say you love the being you have never seen and hate your brother. These people succeeded in creating hatred in us towards our brothers. So we don't have self-love. And until we love ourselves as black people, regardless of what language you speak, these people are using tribal division. When they finish, they turn back and tell us that because you and your brother are in different ethnicity, you are not one people. So you start to be hating that person. You can never love a being that you don't see and hate the person that you see. It is not possible. So Africans, we have to do away with the bitterness that we have towards our brothers. We are one people. These people manage to make sure that we hate ourselves with this tribal thing. And until we do away with that tribalism, Africa will never move forward. Why can't we, with our different ethnicities, live together as one people? When you travel out of Africa, they don't ask you whether you're Ghanaian, they only know you to be an African. So why don't we capitalize on that and remain the way we were before they came in contact with us? And we allow them to always have their way. That is a powerful speech. And these are the things that we need to hear. And not only hear, we need to listen and walk by them. Let's see beyond the borders and love ourselves. We are one people. The black man is the same. We are from one ancestor. Regardless of what language you speak, where you come from, we are one people. And we need to unite to be able to defeat these people and set ourselves free. We need freedom. Enough of the oppression. You can't be treated inferior worldwide when the whole world depends on your mineral resources. Why? We don't see how big and how important we are because of the inferiority complex they've created in us. And that's why we don't cherish anything African. We are the best. There is none like us. And we have to fight. Even if we don't see that world, our children, the next generations that will come, will see the world. The beautiful world of the African. And be proud of. We can't continue to hand over slavery as an inheritance to our generations. Do not die a coward. We must fight for this freedom. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world. In Africa, Southern Africa, and in South Africa,